Me ma, me ma, me ma. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. 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 We on? We ready? I gotta get this microphone where I like
get the mic right.
I know. It sucks. Betty Body bought some butter, but she said her butter's bitter. There you go. Warm up the lips. Take a seat. Okay, start over, dude.
Let's just ride till the wheels fall off. Till the wheels fall off. Until the wheels fall off.
Welcome to another episode of Till the Wheels Fall Off, hosted by Max Christensen III. People of all colors and lifestyles tell us about the triumphs and failures of their lives, and the one thing outside of family that they will ride with and roll with until the wheels fall off. Welcome, everyone, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. We appreciate you tuning in with us again to Till the Wheels Fall Off podcast, hosted by yours truly, Max Christensen III. Some of you guys might recognize this guy. A lot of you guys might recognize this guy. This is the co-host of Take a Seat, hosted by yours truly, Max Christensen III, and co-hosted by the great, the wonderful, the tremendous Darius McFarland. Catch us every Monday, 6 to 8 p.m. on 91.3 The Blaze. All right, Darius, my brother, thank you for joining us on the podcast. Not the radio show, but the podcast tonight.
Yeah, man, it's fun. It's fun to be in a little more, a little more intimate setting, talk about some different topics than sports. It's going to be fun. I'm excited.
We're a little more lax. We're not under FCC guidelines or regulations.
Right,
we can be a little bit more open with our conversations.
Right.
And I'm excited about that tonight because I feel like you have a story that many of us need to hear. A story of very tumultuous times for you in your life. And for those of you who don't know, Darius and I go way back. We're talking, him and I are the same age, graduated high school the same year, and I hated him. All growing up, we were major rivals growing up. He went to Box Elder High School. I went to Skyview High School. We were always the two black kids lined up against each other in football and basketball since we were 9, 10 years old, and we didn't become best friends until recently.
I mean, I'm going to be completely honest. I feel like the hate might be a little bit stronger from that side growing up than me. I'm gonna be honest.
Hey, I always took the underdog mentality, so I probably did hate you more than you hated me, for sure.
Know what?
For sure.
You do what you got to do to motivate yourself.
But hey,
you know what I mean?
We can be honest too. I'll look right in this camera and say, this guy got me more than I got him. That's probably why I didn't like you either. You know what I mean? I never hit a buzzer beater in your face. You got me on mine. That was one. That was one.
I mean, I never got you in football though. I don't think.
I mean, we'd have to turn on the tape.
I mean, we'd have to go look. I mean, growing up, I think it was probably. I mean, I don't remember up until high school. To be honest. But I mean, in high school, I don't think we ever beat you guys.
No,
3 times.
No, you never.
I think we were 0-3, but I know we got you guys in basketball.
Yes,
a couple times.
I think we might have split in basketball. I know we got you in football, but we had a lot of one-on-one matchups on the football field too.
It is
right?
true.
You're playing tight end. I'm playing defensive end. You were always a lot bigger than me until recently.
I mean, I'm the same size I was. Right now, I'm the same size I was in 6th grade. So I mean,
and how much you weigh right now?
I'm 230, about 235.
Jeez,
right
this guy was 230 as a 6th grader, and he's not exaggerating either, guys.
No, but I did hit a couple of home runs off of Mitch Berryhill though.
There you go.
So I mean, you weren't on the baseball field at that time, but
I was not.
I did get. I made up for the football losses on the baseball field.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Nah. Well, hey, again, really appreciate you joining the podcast.
Yeah, man,
we have a lot to cover tonight. First off, again, you're from Box Elder. You're from Brigham City.
Yep.
Right. Did you grow up there? Did you live your whole life there?
I did. Yep. I was born in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. So I grew up. My parents adopted me. A couple weeks old. So I lived my whole life in Brigham City. That's home to me. Yep. I've been there my whole life, and up until I turned 18. So that's home. Box Elder High School.
What was it like growing up for you? Because I mean, again, I'm adopted. Lived in Logan since I was about 9 years old.
Yeah.
So we've grew up pretty much in the same area, lived a lot of the same lifestyle. So I'm just curious, for you, was it kind of the same as it was for me growing up in Logan? Because I know we've shared stories off the air, right? Yeah. So just tell everybody what it was like for you as a black kid being adopted by white parents, going into Box Elder County, into Brigham City, right, to grow up.
You know, if I'm being really honest, it didn't cross my mind too often. You know, I knew I had two parents that loved me, and I knew I had a community of people that loved me and supported me. Speaking for all the other, you know, there was a strong community of black adopted kids.
For sure.
Know, Brigham City, Tremont, and Logan area.
All throughout northern Utah.
Yeah. So, I mean, you know, not a lot of black parents in the area. But I might be lying, you know, looking back now. Like, at the time, I didn't think it affected me. Because I'm just like, I'm just a normal kid, right? I'm just my parents, my family, whatever. I didn't think too much about it. But if I'm being completely honest, looking back now, I think it might have had a little bit more of an impact on me than I realized. You know, I've always kind of been somebody who's, you know, getting a little intimate on this show. You know, I've always been somebody who struggled kind of with self-esteem, and you know, I've done a lot of introspection recently with some of the stuff I've been going through, and that's crossed my mind a lot. You know, and so I think at the end of the day, at the time, I'm just a normal kid. I'm just growing up and playing sports, you know, having fun, having friends, and whatever. But I think it might have affected me more than I thought, both negatively and positively. But I'm choosing to look at the positive, and I was blessed with, you know, some natural talent, and I was blessed, you know, to be able to have people around me that love me, and I come from a pretty diverse family, and so that really helped, you know, having people that look like me in my family. But as far as the community goes, very few and far between. So I'm doing a lot of introspection, you know, like I said, and I think it might have affected me more than I would have liked to know as a 9, 10, 11, 12-year-old kid.
For sure. So, you know, a lot of the diversity where we grew up came from us.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, we were a big part of that, had a big hand in that. So
and you know, it's crazy because, you know, a lot of people want to look at that as like a negative, right? And I think a lot of people in the world right now, it's kind of become a negative thing to, like, for white parents to adopt black kids. But I mean, I look back now and I'm like, where would I be if I wasn't adopted? Like where else would I be?
100%.
And so I've kind of learned a little bit about my biological family recently, and I'm like, you know, it's just scary. Like, you know, God definitely had a hand in, like, me being where I ended up, you know, with my parents. And so it's a little bit scary to think about where I would have been had I not been adopted. And I'm sure it's the same for you, you know.
Oh, yeah. Like
I'm sure it's the same for a lot, and that's, you know, I'm grateful for that adoption process, and I'm grateful for everything. And yeah, it can be a little scary to think about what life would have been like. How different would life have been if, you know, my birth parents wouldn't have given me up for adoption. So,
I know I wouldn't be sitting here in this chair.
No,
I know that much.
I mean, shoot, I might not be sitting anywhere.
Getting this,
you know,
exactly, getting this experience right here. You know, like I always said, listen, I am so grateful that my parents adopted me, and that my parents chose to give me up for adoption, because I'm like, I'd much rather grow up in Smithfield, Utah, on the west side of the railroad tracks, going to Skyview High School, than in the ghettos of Houston, Texas. Yep. Right. And I'm sure, and I've been to Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, once you get outside city center, once you get deep into the boroughs, like it's nasty and ugly in there.
Yeah, man. And I've never been, you know, deep into that part. I've had some opportunities recently to kind of connect with them, but I've kind of declined those a little bit. You know, just kind of been trying to figure life out and stuff. So I hope to connect one day and go, you know, kind of learn about my roots and learn about that kind of stuff. But yeah, I've been to the touristy part, and even there is like a little bit dirty and scary. So you know, I'm looking forward to getting outside of that, just to be able to like who am I? Like, where do I come from? You know, why am I the way that I am? And why do I look the way I look? You know, and I'm excited for that in the near future. And I have plans, you know, when the time is right to be able to do that. I'm looking forward to it. But as of right now, I'm kind of declining those opportunities to figure out some stuff going on right now.
Yes. So. Yes. Let's switch gears a little bit. Okay. Let's go through this quickly, because you and I talk sports every single day.
Yeah.
Right. We talk football, we talk basketball, we talk pickleball.
Yeah.
Right. So like we try and diversify our portfolios just a little bit.
Yep.
Right. So you were a big time athlete coming out of high school. Okay. You played football. Well, you dominated in football. You were really nice on the hardwood in basketball, and you played a lot of baseball as well. You told me actually baseball was your best sport, right? But you had double digits when it came to Division I offers to go play college football, right?
Yeah.
So what was that experience like? Quickly, what was that experience like playing college football, right? And what is the biggest thing you learned from playing football at the high school and the college level that you still carry with you to this day?
Man, yeah, like you said, I was extremely blessed to have some natural athletic ability, and I did play 3 sports all growing up, and eventually I chose to settle on football. By the end of my senior year of high school, and throughout that whole sports experience, specifically football, I think a couple things I learned, but one thing is like be who you are, and I know that's kind of very broad. Like a very broad statement sometimes, so I'll kind of hone in here quickly, but I think that being comfortable in your own skin in life is important, but I think especially when it comes to sports, right? And I had parents who gave me every single opportunity to succeed and every single opportunity to be the best I could be, and I couldn't thank them enough for that. I think that I had some people around me sometimes that maybe tried to force me to be a certain way or play a certain way or things like that. And I think, looking back now, I had to kind of acknowledge that. And but I think at the end of the day, I've learned, like, be yourself, like be who you are. Don't change how you play. Don't change your personality. Don't change, what like gets you going for games and just little things like that. Don't change that for somebody else, And I think I got caught up in that a little bit, especially towards the end of my college career. Like I was very worried about, how did I look and do the coaches like me, and am I the right weight, am I the right height, and in high school too, like the music I listen to, are they going to like it, and like my personality, and like am I the right weight, and getting moved positions, and just so I think be yourself is huge when it comes to sports, and play how you play, like let go and just play how you play. And I think I never truly did that, and I'll regret that, for a long time. Because I was very concerned, and that is kind of a life thing we can get into, but I don't think I ever really truly let go and just played like who I was, growing up, loving the game, just playing, having fun as a kid, just playing like I play and enjoying the game like it's supposed to be fun. And I think I lost a lot of that, especially towards the later years of high school and into college, but I think along with that is control what you can control. You can't control coaches, you can't control fans, you can't control anybody else, but like being yourself and playing how you play and playing hard all the time, that's all you can do. And you got to accept what other people's decisions are. And I struggle with that. I struggle with like other people deciding stuff for me and making changes for me. And so I got caught up in that more than I should have. And I didn't just focus on myself, and it did hurt, but I'm grateful. And I hope that somebody hears that and, can make the decision to like, you got to let go. You got to lock in on what you can control and be who you are and truly play how. Don't try to play like that person or act like that person or emulate that person or have a stance like that person. Like, don't do that. Like, be who you are, and the chips are going to fall, and you're going to find yourself in the right position if you just play how you play as an athlete.
I love that. That's a great answer, man, because I'm currently playing Division I football right now here at Utah Tech University, right? And everybody's like, oh, you should play like this guy. Oh, you should be like this guy. But I'm like, wait, I love that because, I'm the only Max Christensen III playing defensive tackle at Utah Tech University right now. Yep. Right. So why not just play like me? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And I had, I had parents growing up that had nothing but the best of intentions.
Same here.
And I'm extremely grateful. I think sometimes, I did get caught up in like trying to be like pro athletes or trying to be like certain people, and it hurt me a little bit because I was always trying to be like somebody else, and sometimes I wouldn't really just play like me. Like, just do what makes you comfortable. And like you said, right, there's never going to be another Darius McFarland, third baseman for Box Elder High School, hitting home runs. There's never going to be another Darius, playing middle linebacker at Box Elder High School. Like, there's just not going to be another one. Yeah. And so you need to take advantage of like being that person. And I deeply regret sometimes not being able to do that. And at the college level too, like everybody's all state. Everybody's good, right? Like you got to find a way to separate yourself. And, I do have regrets that I feel like I never truly did that because of like getting caught up in kind of conformity and trying to, be like other people and worrying about other people's opinions and not trying to worry about stuff that was outside of my control. So it was a hard lesson that I learned, and it's something I hope to pass on to any athlete that asks me about my experiences. It's just the reality, you know.
Yeah.
But I'm grateful that I went through it. So hopefully I can be helpful to somebody in the future.
Yes.
With
yes. So we both graduated high school in the spring of 2016.
Yep.
Right. We both decided to go serve LDS missions for the LDS or Mormon church.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
You went to Washington, D.C.
Yep.
I went to Argentina.
Yep.
Beforehand, we'd both signed to go play Division I college football. You ended up choosing BYU.
Yep.
I ended up choosing University of Nevada down Reno.
Yep.
Right. But this podcast is not about me, sir. It is about you. So we're going to follow your journey a little bit. Okay. Mission, come home. You go to BYU.
Yep. Right.
We're going to get into the meat and potatoes of this podcast right now.
All right.
Okay.
Let's do it. I'm ready.
We try and be as open as possible. Right.
Yep.
I want you to be as you can go as deep or as superficial as you want on this topic when it comes to these questions. Okay.
Okay.
So you got home. Mm-hmm. You went to BYU. Yep. Was it for 2 or 3 years?
It was 3 years.
Okay.
I got to BYU in the summer of 2018, and I ended up transferring after the 2020 season.
Okay. So you went to BYU.
Mm-hmm.
You got married at BYU.
I did, yep.
You are no longer married.
I am no longer married, yeah.
Then you decided to transfer up to Utah State, come back home a little bit, right? Play for the Aggies.
Yep.
You win a Mountain West Conference championship with Utah State.
Yep.
You end up getting engaged when you're at Utah State.
Yep.
You're no longer engaged.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So there's two different holes in the story right there that I'd like you to fill as superficially or as deep as you'd like. Let's start with BYU. You get there, you're a superstar. Everybody in Utah County worships BYU football players. Okay. You end up getting married. How old were you when you got married?
Man, I would have been barely 22.
Okay. So you're barely 22, right? Riding high, feeling good. You married another star athlete at BYU, a softball player.
Yep.
Right. So walk us through kind of that process of getting married pretty young, marrying another athlete, right? And just, it didn't end up working out.
Yeah. No, it was crazy, because I did do that, kind of cookie cutter, more or less, kind of process, right? Great athlete, good grades, sign with BYU, go on the mission, come back, get married. That was the dream. And I had what else could you want in life? You know what I mean? And I did that. And, I came home and got married, and it kind of started pretty early on, in my BYU career, like bouncing around, no communication from coaches and things like that, changing my body. I came home at 250, I got up to 290, then I went down to 230, up to 250, then back down to 235, 240, whatever, changing positions, just trying to fit, just trying to fit in this system that I felt like I could thrive in. Just couldn't do it. And I think that did have a big impact on my mental health, because I didn't want anything more than to just fit in on this football team.
Yes.
Right? I'm just like, this is what I came here for. Like, why can't I break this? Why can't I break this roster? Right. And I did get some special teams time while I was there, and that was awesome. But I definitely felt like I wasn't living up to my potential at the school
and the potential that everyone told you that you had. Right. Because listen, I was kind of in that same position, right, coming out of high school, where we were both first team All-State. Yeah. We're both getting all these accolades. Everybody's telling us how good we are.
Yeah.
Right. And then you show up to BYU and you're like, oh, wait, this was everybody. Yeah. Everybody carries the exact same accolades as I do. But for some reason, I'm the one getting cut on play time and things like that.
Yeah, man, it's crazy. I think another piece of advice would just be, don't believe the hype. You're not as good as you think you are, I promise. And that's not in a negative way at all.
And you're not as good as anyone tells you that you are either.
Okay, I should probably say that.
Yeah.
You're not as good as anybody tells you that you are. But I'll tell you this too. You're not as bad as anybody says you are. Right? So you got to have some self-awareness. Yes. But man, people love to gas athletes up. And I got caught up in that. And I'm like, why am I not star player? Because that's that's who I grew up being. That's who I was, and good athlete, and excelling and anything I tried to do, I was pretty good at it. And that's not a brag in any way, but that ended up hurting me later. Like, I wasn't good at it, so I immediately got frustrated, right? And I just was trying to find my way and trying to find, who am I? Like, why can't I break the roster of this football team? And I'm just getting so pissed off. And I lived very negatively for a long time. So I'm like, this is all I want, is to just play here, And I did get married, during that process in the winter of, end of 2019. Married a great girl, and you know, I think that process put a lot of strain on the relationship because my mental health wasn't great, and I was struggling to fit. Like that's what I came here for. I came to play ball, and I can't do it, you know. And you know, without talking too negatively about her as a person, because I think that she's great, and I have no ill will towards her at all. That relationship wasn't an ideal situation from the very start. You know, you think you know what love is sometimes, and sometimes it smacks you in the face, and you learn that maybe you weren't ready for this, or maybe like you had no idea about anything that needed to be done to make a relationship like that work eternally. You know what I mean? So, you know, you get in this ideal situation. It is cookie cutter, like it's picture perfect, right? And 2-star athletes getting married at BYU, and like, imagine those babies, right? You know,
right.
Imagine how good athletes they are, and you get the picket fence and the golden doodle, you know, and you live that whole life, and it was amazing. Like, what else could I want? You know, throughout that marriage, you know, it was, you know, I made some decisions that put a lot of strain on the relationship, and you know, those are things that I live with, you know, every day, and I've accepted that they're just they're mistakes, you know, and I did things that I wish I could take back, but at the end of the day, it was a very tough relationship from the start, and it was just, you know, very non-communicative and very jump to high levels very fast when disagreements happen. And so you learn a lot of lessons, and I've done a lot, you know, it forced me to do a lot of introspection after that relationship ended. And, you know, with that relationship ending piled on, you know, with like essentially being told like, hey, it's not going to work here at BYU either. You know, you're a tweener, you just don't have the body type, you should probably leave, you know, all that within the span of a few months. That was rough, you know, that was hard, and I was not in a good place mentally. You know, and I definitely was struggling, and I was like, I had it all, right? I had everything you could ever want as a Mormon guy from Utah. I had it all. Like, I had everything you could ever want, and then within the span of 3 months, just gone. Damn. So it was a lot to you know, carry, and I've looked back, and in every single situation I've been completely honest with myself and honest with people that I know. Like, yeah, there were a lot of things I could have done differently on the relationship front and on the athletic front. But I think that it's how you look back at it, and I'm choosing to look back and treat them as lessons, you know, and treat them as like you said before, you know, you're not as good as anyone tells you are, but you're also not as bad as anyone tells you are. You know, and you learn a lot about people when stuff hits the fan, and learn a lot about personalities and things. And so I'm grateful, you know, she's remarried. I think she got remarried within the year or less. And, you know, it's been great. And I've, you know, moved on past that part of my life. And like you said, eventually ended up at Utah State. So went to Texas to sell solar. I've worked a bunch of different jobs trying to figure my life out after that happened. And then, you know, ended up in Logan. Yeah, up in your neck of the woods. So
so you're up in Logan, right? Yeah. Every Saturday you're hearing the Scotsman play.
Oh yeah, baby.
Right,
yep. and
things. Yeah. Yep. Shoot.
I know. You're getting chills right now.
not the best kind of chills either. Gosh, shit. So yeah, you're up there playing ball.
Yep.
Life's pretty good. Right, you and I actually sat there when we went to Angie's, where the locals eat.
Yep.
Right, you and I shared a couple meals together, talked a little bit how life was going.
Yeah.
And you meet another girl.
Yep.
Right, who put you on the path you think towards marriage. Like, this one's got to work out.
Yeah.
Right. It ended up not falling into place.
Yeah.
Right. And then suddenly you end up down here in St. George.
Yeah, man, that was a crazy year, you know, because like, you know, I ended up in Texas selling solar, right? Just like trying to figure life out. And, you know, we connected. We had known each other from, you know, before early on in college. And, you know, we connected and started talking. And, it was kind of an old flame kind of deal, you know, and started talking a lot and eventually ended up in a relationship. And, you know, I was trying to figure life out. And during that time we were talking, I ended up in Logan playing football. And that was like the ultimate restart for me, right? BYU didn't work in any aspect, right? Like, just any aspect of life, just Provo just wasn't the place for me. I ended up in Logan, right? I got I got, a new football career to start over. I had 3 years of eligibility left. It's going to be awesome. Meet a great girl, great social life. And this is a great restart to move, an hour and a half north, 2 hours north almost, and just have that new fresh start. And so I get some special teams time. I get some garbage minutes, played at Utah State, and it's awesome. I make a lot of strides mentally and physically, and battled through some injuries, throughout that whole last year, and which I had been battling through, since BYU and things like that. But end up working through that, and like you said, ended up, playing that whole year, and being completely honest, I kind of lost that love for the game as the year went on. I just was kind of like, man, I love this 2 hours, on the practice field. You put the pads on, you put the the cleats on, you go out and hit people, right? And you run drills, and you get to be around the players and the coaches and stuff. And I love all that. But that other, 14, 15 hours of the day, that was like kind of miserable for me, and which I had never experienced because I just love sports so much.
Yeah.
I'm like, it was hard for me to accept, like, this is my life. This is who I am, and which is a bad phrase to say, by the way. You should never say that sports are who you are.
100%.
That was very negative of me to say about myself. But I mean, I had everything going again, right? Fresh start. And then, got engaged again, and it was awesome. And she's an amazing girl, and, ended up proposing in March. And then by May, that was split off as well this last May. So again, and, it was hard because she had been there, for me through some pretty tough times, like this identity crisis. Like, I don't want to play football anymore, but I don't know what else to do. And, kind of gave me that confidence, kind of kick in the ass, like, you can do other stuff.
Yeah.
You can do other things. Like, you're capable of doing other things. And so I made the decision, like, I got this going. She lives in St. George, and I don't want to play football anymore, and we're going to get married. So, like, I'll make a jump, and I'll move down to St. George and be done with football, and, make that next chapter of my life happen. And again, that was, time goes by, and, you learn more and more about a person. You learn more and more about yourself. And, again, I think, I made some decisions that, from a personal standpoint, but also a relationship standpoint, like, kind of put a lot of strain on it, and I think that at the end of the day, I've owned all the mistakes, and I've been completely honest, with anybody that's asked, what happened. And, she was an amazing girl, and I wish her the best. And, but that was, again, like, this is the path, right?
Yes.
This is where I'm going. This is it. I'm going to have everything you could ever want. Like, 24-year-old guy, new wife, St. George, like, what else could you ask for?
Yep.
And then again, just gone. So, and I never, relationships are obviously both ways. And in both relationships, there were things done and said that made me incredibly insecure, and made me incredibly, like, second guess myself. But I was also doing that to myself, through life. So it wasn't, I will not speak on any of that, because this is not about them. This is my life, and I'm choosing to take control. And so I'm owning up to my mistakes and doing a lot of introspection, and I'm learning, like, how insecure I was, and, like, how much strain that put on the relationship, me making decisions out of insecurity, and just, like, this constant state of fight or flight. And just, like, so it was incredibly difficult to, like, look in the mirror, and, like, therapy, and, talking with people that love me and care about me and are willing to shoot me straight and be willing to accept, like, the negative feedback, and that it's been really hard. But I moved down here in June, and I hit you up the day I was driving down, and ended up on Take a Seat. And, we've been vibing ever since as really good friends. And again, St. George as another fresh start. Right. Yes. And that's all I can ask for. And it's been a huge, like, God needed me here, like 100%. He needed me here. Obviously circumstances aren't great. But, like, I'm supposed to be here, and I'm learning every day, why.
Yes.
Like, why I'm supposed to be here. So it's been awesome.
And you've done a hell of a job of picking yourself up after continually getting knocked down and being able to look in the mirror and accept yourself.
Yeah.
Right. I read a quote the other day. I mean, everybody knows I'm a pretty big quote guy, right? If you follow me on any of my social media,
quote of the day. I love it.
Always
I love
the quotes of the day.
I've saved
right?
a lot of them. Yep.
And you know, one of the quotes I saw was the hardest thing for people in the world to do is to look in the mirror and discover who they really are.
Yep.
The second hardest thing in the world is to take that person and walk out that door into the world.
Yep.
For other people to accept you as you are as well.
Yeah.
Right. And so, yeah, you've had a very tumultuous and trying time.
Yeah.
And you're only 25 years old. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's been crazy. You know, I wasn't, you know, planning on getting this intimate this quick with this episode, but I feel like for some reason I feel like I got to share
it.
Yeah, no, back in you know, back around July, end of June, beginning of July, I just moved down here, you know, and it was like incredibly difficult to like live with, you know, losing somebody that you love. And, you know, I was like, what am I here for? You know, like you got, you know, two failed marriage, failed engagement, you know, and not failed, but I definitely am. I mean, still to this day, living with the fact like I didn't live up to my athletic potential, you know, and I feel that, and it's hard. Like sometimes I still watch football, I still watch basketball games, you know, and I'm like, man, it's hard, you know. Not to say like you know, it's not an attractive thing to say like I peaked, but you know, peaked back then, but it's hard to let that stuff go, you know, and I didn't reach my full potential, and it still kind of hangs on to me to this day. And it was all piling on, man. It was all piling on. And, you know, I actually ended up in the hospital. I didn't quite make an attempt on my own life, but I was damn near there.
Yeah.
And that was incredibly hard. I spent a week in the hospital. You know, no phone, no nothing, just a gown and just like spoons and just like coloring pictures
and your own thoughts.
Therapy sessions, you know, and just like taking medicine and just trying to get right. And like you said, it's your own thoughts. And that was like what I needed, man. I needed to like sort through all this stuff. And, you know, I spent a week there and I finally convinced them. I got out on the 4th of July, the day of the 4th of July, and my family came down and we watched the fireworks. And that was an extremely hard time. You know, I had never thought that like, I had always kind of looked down on people that committed suicide. You know, like taking the easy way out. You know, like that's, how could you ever feel that down? And I feel terrible about that because like I felt that shit and like I was there. Like I'm like, I have nothing to live for anymore. If anybody, I mean, I don't mean to make this kind of a suicide awareness thing, but if you're listening to this and you feel like you're at that point, like, please like reach out. Like I promise you, if you feel like you're going to be annoying, you're not. And like, reach out to me or Max, man, because I've been there. I've been there. Max was there for me, you know, and I've had people that love me and people that I didn't really talk to on a regular basis. Like I reached out and, you know, kind of like told them what I was going through, and they were like, dude, I'm here like any time of the day. I think you'd be surprised. You'd be surprised how willing people are, you know, even if you don't talk a lot to people, like people are willing when they hear that. And so that was a really hard time, you know, and I was dealing with that. And so, but yeah, I ended up in school, Utah Tech, and it's been a ride. And like, I'm better than I've ever been, you know, therapy, hated therapy too, man. Hated it. Like I never wanted to go. I never thought I'd be a therapy guy.
And there's a stigma around that too, especially with men and especially with athletes.
Yes. 100%.
Right. It's like, cause you know, I tell everyone football is as mentally taxing as it is physically.
100%.
Right.
Yes.
And you got to be a man's man to play football. You know what I'm saying? Like to run full speed into another dude.
Yeah.
Right. Like you got to have some inside of you that is a little bit built different.
That's courage,
as everybody says.
That's courageous.
Right?
You got to have some dog in you.
So for you to play a sport, a gladiator sport like that,
yep,
and then to walk off the lines and have to go talk to somebody about your mental health, it can feel a little, you know, a little demoralizing.
100%. It was incredibly emasculating for me. But at the end of the day, like I'm better than I've ever been now, you know, like I love myself. I love who I am. You know, I'm not all the way there yet, but like I feel more secure and more like I love myself and more like I can take on the world and I can do anything. and I think God sends people your way sometimes and to get you out of certain places. And I've had people in my life that have come, got me out of places, and then we're gone. And, in that, my most recent engagement, I think that was probably what that was. As much as that sucks to say, like, that was a chapter, right? That was a season for me. But I needed her in my life to get me, get, like I said, that kick in the ass and tell me, like, you're capable. Like, you're capable of more than just this that you're doing, and I wouldn't change a thing, where I'm at now. And I feel strong and I feel capable but getting rid of that stigma has been huge for me. And like, I would tell anybody to go. Like, if you're struggling, like, go talk to somebody. It's going to take some experimenting. It's going to take some time kind of bouncing around, kind of like dating. You're going to find people you like and people you don't like, but you need to go if you're feeling that way. And if you're feeling insecure, like, do things that make you happy. Go talk to somebody who can help you fix your mind and think more positively. And like, I wouldn't trade any of that for the world. But kind of hopping off that mental health tangent now, I've been, I feel great. Like, I feel better than I've ever been. And it's been a lot. Some of it I didn't ask for at all. And some of it I brought on myself. But again, at the end of the day, I've had to look in the mirror, like you said, and it's been the best thing I could have ever done. As painful as it is, nights crying, just spending time in the hospital, spending time alone, just thinking there was nothing left. Like, stuff gets you through, and use your resources, use the people around you that love you, and I've been able to do that, and I feel great. Like, I'm ready to, like, truly let go of everything in the past. And it's baby steps, but I'm almost there, right? Like, I'm almost there to just be able to let it all go and just be where I'm at. And it's an amazing feeling to not dwell on the past anymore,
That's heavy stuff, man.
It's heavy.
And I appreciate you sharing that, because I feel like that's something a lot of people need to hear. I love how you talk about not dwelling in the past, which leads me right into my next question. Great segue, sir. Feels like we've been behind the mics before together, right? Every Monday night from 6 to 8 p.m. 91.3 The Blaze. Let's talk on the right now, right? Again, you have, especially in the state of Utah, right? There's a stigma, right?
Yep.
Everyone has a dating rap sheet, if you will, right?
Yep.
Your rap sheet reads, X amount of girlfriends.
Yep.
Okay, let's back up. You're 25 years old.
Yep, just turned 25.
Okay, just barely turned 25 in September.
Mm-hmm.
X amount of girlfriends.
Yep.
Engaged twice.
Yep.
Married once. Divorced once.
Mm-hmm.
At 25 years old, in the state of Utah, how do you still have the hope and the mindset and the courage and the whatever else kind of words you want to throw out there to date, or even to, because I know, listen, none of that stuff has even come close to happening to me.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And yet, I still struggle sometimes in the dating world. I haven't even turned 25 yet.
Right.
Right. I'm 24, turn 25 here in November.
Yeah.
But it's like, the dating time capsule seems to be running out.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so how do you, with that rap sheet, if you will, at 25 years old, still have the courage to go out and talk to girls and date girls and still have the hope that something might work out? Because I know if I was you, and I'm not, but if I was, I wouldn't even be able to walk out my front door and look a girl straight in the eyeballs. Like to look into the windows of another girl's soul. I would never be able to do that again, because my trust level would already be so low that I never think anything was going to work out ever again. So what gives you that hope to keep going on that path of, hey, I can find someone who I can love, who will marry me, who it'll work out, right? And things will be all good.
Yeah. Man, it's not easy, man. It's crazy. I think what it all goes back to for me is I've always had, and I don't know why, I've always had this kind of burning desire within me, like being a husband and a father. Like, that's something that I've always wanted, regardless of religion, regardless of where I live, regardless of culture. Like, just Darius as a person, like, that's always something that I've wanted so badly. And I was scared for a long time, and I've had experiences where I've come clean. I've come clean about, kind of my like you said, a metaphorical, rap sheet, whatever you want to call it, right? And it's really kind of turned girls away, right? And that's incredibly difficult to deal with.
Yeah.
But I think that I had a conversation with a guy at church a couple weeks ago, and he was married, and he had been divorced, and I was telling him, like, I'm terrified to tell girls this. Like, I don't, like, who's going to love me? Like, who's going to be able to want to be with me, right? And he said, dude, you got to come. You can't be afraid. Like, that stuff makes you who you are. Like, that's experience in life, and those are lessons. And somebody's going to love you for everything that you are. And if they don't, if they don't love you for everything that you are and everything that you've been through, why do you want to be with that person?
100%.
And that was hard for me because I mean, to this day, I kind of have to pick and choose. Like, when am I going to come clean about all, when am I going to tell girls this? And, I've already had experiences where I've been honest, and it's kind of been a little bit of a turnoff for them, and they've kind of distanced themselves. But after having that conversation, like, I think I'm at a place now where I feel secure with myself, and I'm okay being alone. Like, I'm okay going day to day with just within myself, with my own thoughts. There was a long time where I didn't even want to be alone with my thoughts. Like, I didn't even want to be alone for 3 seconds. I had to have noise on. I had to be talking to somebody. I had to, like, be doing something, or else I was in trouble. But, like, I'm to the point now where I'm, like, secure with myself, and I've accepted the mistakes, and I've accepted the past and the relationships and the way people have treated me in the past. Like, I've accepted all that, and I've accepted, like, this is who I am, and I don't want anybody that's not going to love everything that I have to offer, right? And it's been hard to accept that, but at the end of the day, my goals in life and what I truly want deep inside, I have to, like, realize there's somebody, right? Like, there's somebody, and they may not be in the state of Utah. Like, they who knows what that person's doing right now, but I don't want anybody that's not going to accept everything that I've been through. And that was a really good realization for me. Like, I don't want to shy away from what's happened in my life. And maybe that person doesn't exist. Maybe there's nobody that will accept that. But I'm at a point where I don't care, because I'm so comfortable with myself and who I am that I'm okay being alone, and I'm okay, accepting that I'd rather come clean and have them leave than because they're not comfortable with it, or they don't like all that, baggage or whatever you want to call it, which I don't call it that, because it's only baggage if you look at it as baggage. I call it lessons, but however you're going to look at it, life experience, character development, whatever you want to call it. But there's a person, and there might not be, but if there is that person, I truly want them to love me for everything that I am and everything that I have to offer. And that's the realization I've come to recently. And I mean, it's kind of just that simple for me. I don't, I think that I've just become comfortable with myself, and the right person's going to come along. And if they accept me, great. If they don't, but it took a lot of work to get to the place where I can accept that it might not happen. It took a lot of work and a lot of introspection, a lot of learning about myself to be able to accept that. But being in that position now, it helps kind of give me that confidence to get back out there and be like, it's okay if they don't, because I'm okay being alone. Like, I'm okay accepting that I've got that rap sheet, right?
Yes.
And if nobody wants that, I'm okay living with myself, with my thoughts, with who I am.
Yeah.
And that's helped immensely to have that mentality.
Yes, 100%, my man.
So,
and for you, like you say, your past and the things you've been through can turn off some girls, right?
Yeah,
for me, I just get told I look like I'm 40. so we both just have our little sets of struggles here. Mine are definitely not like yours, right? And you can't compare it all, but yeah, I feel you in a different sense there.
I don't even know what to say to that, man. I can't even. I don't know.
Oh man. All right, I know you got to get out of here, so let's wrap this up. Ask you the question of the show, right? I know you've watched a couple episodes. This is the third one, right? I know you see the other two. I know you know what's coming. So, Darius, what is one thing in life outside of family, right? And I know family's been huge for you. What a support system you've had behind you, and you've mentioned that multiple times on this podcast, right?
Yeah.
So, what is one thing outside of family that you feel like you can ride with or roll with in life till the wheels fall off? Basically, what is something that makes you go through all of this shit, that go through all of these trials, right?
Yep.
And still come out the other side and want to live a productive life. And you're currently living a very productive life. You're going to school, you're working in the athletic department here at Utah Tech University, right? You're hanging out with people, you're having fun, you're hosting a radio show with me.
It don't
right?
get better than that.
I mean, Monday nights, man. Nobody likes Monday nights in St. George better than us, right?
Yep.
And so what makes you want to be so productive after going through everything that you've been through at the age of 25, right? Which is very young, even though sometimes we don't feel that young. You know what I'm saying?
No, no, I mean, I've always had something deep inside me, like that. I've always wanted to feel valued. Like I've always wanted to feel like I'm making an impact on somebody, the world, just anybody. And, for the first time, since I got home from my LDS mission, really, I feel that now. Like I feel like I'm making an impact. Like I'm working for the school. I'm working for the city of St. George. I'm in school working towards a degree that I love. I got great people around me, kind of helping me pick myself up and keep me occupied. And I'm building great relationships with people who are going to have a huge impact on me. I've always had that, like yearning. I think we all do to some extent. We all want to feel like we're valued. We all want to feel like we're making an impact on people. And I'm in a place now where I'm doing that. Like I'm in a place now where I've been able to push everything to the past and like, who am I? Like dig deep inside. And that's what I want. And I've been able to embrace who I am and embrace all my past and embrace treating people how I've treated them and how they've treated me very negatively, and just accept it and just like move on, man. And I think the number one thing I would say is security. Like you got to make yourself secure, or you're never going to be able to make somebody else feel secure. And that was that I flipped those, right? And there's actually a quote that I love that I'll share because that kind of goes along with being secure within yourself. But it's an African proverb, and it says, "If there is no enemy within, the enemy outside can do you no harm."
Wow.
And it's a theme for me. Like I got that written on my mirror in big letters. Like I see it every day, and it's true. Like everything you go through on the outside, how people talk about you, what people think about you, what they say, decisions people make that impact your life, like it can have no effect if you love yourself and if you're like confident in who you are and you can accept your mistakes and accept people being negative towards you and the way and the mistakes, how you've treated people, and like everything that you are as a person. If you can accept that and love who you are and embrace that, whatever happens outside is not going to matter. Like it's not going to affect you in a negative way. And that's a hard thing for me. For a long time, that was a hard thing for me to accept. I was letting everything going on outside of me, like, affect my mood, affect what I did, like affect how I ate, and just every little thing was affected by, honestly, the last 4 years of my life was everything going on outside of me was affecting who I am. And you have to look deep inside and find those values, like who are you actually? And I didn't know for a long time. And again, that was a big reason that put a big strain on my athletic career, put a big strain on my relationships. I didn't know who the hell I was. Some days I still don't. But now I'm in a place where I can look and love who I am and love everything I've been through. And that gives me the confidence to just keep trying to be productive and find somebody that, I can build a life with and, one day. And so the world's already like sucks. Like it's, people are assholes sometimes.
Yeah.
And majority of people are really good, but sometimes you're going to meet those people that they just are who they are. And sometimes people are going to make decisions that affect you, and people are going to say things that affect you. But if you love who you are and you're secure within yourself, none of that's going to matter. And you're going to have that ability to serve more, to love better, to make other people feel secure. And so I'm trying to, get rid of that enemy within. And that's been my journey for the last, 6 months or so, like getting rid of that enemy within. And, the boat will only sink if the water gets inside, right?
Amen.
And so I think that that's been the journey. And I would encourage anybody out there who's struggling, like, you got to be secure within yourself before you can do anything else. If you're not secure within yourself and love who you are and everything you're about, you're going to struggle with most things. You know, you're going to fake it till you make it, and you're going to be able to be productive still, but you're not going to be truly happy. And any little thing, any little change or anything that happens to you is going to affect you a lot more than it would if you just were be able to be within yourself and be calm and accept what comes and get down to those core values of who you are and love who you are and be around the people that also love you for who you are and who are going to leave stuff in the past and encourage you to be the best you going forward. And so, yeah, it's been a journey, but I'm grateful. And that quote hit me really hard. So,
the enemy within.
Yeah, man.
The enemy within, ladies and gentlemen. The enemy within. Got to fight him.
Can't have
every
it.
day.
Can't have
every
it.
day, right? It's a constant battle. So, my brother, I appreciate you coming on.
Yeah,
I appreciate you taking your invaluable time.
Yeah.
To come sit on this podcast, share your story, which I know is going to affect people in the right way. That's going to be able to motivate other people. That says, "Hey, Darius has been through all this stuff, and he's only 25.
Yeah.
Right? I'm going through my own set of trials. If he's been through it and he's come out the other side with a smiling face and a positive attitude, I know I can try and make the same attempt."
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
And that's what sharing these stories are for.
And that's all I want to do. Like, if there's one person that hears this somewhere, you know, and they can feel inspired, you know, that'll be great for me. I would caution that, you know, I hope you hear my story and realize, like, yeah, I'd say that I'm great now, but I wasn't for a long time. Like, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Like, I was in a dark, dark place for a long time. And so I think as you're going through your daily life, never compare yourself to people's best time in life. Like, don't compare their best time to your worst time. That's a horrible thing to do.
Yeah.
People are happy, but everybody's going through something. So don't think that everybody's life is perfect but yours. And that's, again, something that I deal with every day. It's hard with social media, with everything going on.
Yeah.
People are going through shit just like you. So don't look at them and look at how happy they seem and think that they're just perfect lives, because they just don't. So but you got to go through some rainy days to appreciate the sunny days, you know, and that's kind of a hard lesson to accept, but something that people need to realize, that it's not always the smiling face. It's not always a perfect life. Like, you got to go through stuff to get there. So don't ever compare yourself to anybody else.
I love it. Thank you again for sharing all that. And thank you guys for continuing to tune in to Till the Wheels Fall Off podcast, hosted by yours truly, Max Christensen III. Every single episode, we're going to bring on great guests like my man, like my brother here, Darius McFarland, to share their stories with you guys, to focus on human motivation, to focus on, we all have freaking trials, but we're all able to come out the other side if we just push through, fight the enemy within, continue to tune in. Thank you guys for all that you do, all your comments, all your likes, and just keep on keeping on. We appreciate it.
Let's just ride till the wheels fall off.
Till the wheels fall off. We gon' ride, we gon' ride, we gon' ride till the wheels fall off. Until the wheels fall off.
This has been another episode of Till the Wheels Fall Off, hosted by Max Christensen III. Join us next time to hear more stories of life and passion, along with words of wisdom we can all learn from.